and I clicked the button, so I guess we're live, Boogie. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing good. Caught me off guard there. I was expecting a countdown, if anything, dude.
Yeah, I was like, fuck it, we'll go right into it. Glad to have you on the channel, brother. I know a lot of times we run these on yours. Seems like this was a good week to flip it around. So, how you been, man? It's been like about a week since actually, I think a little more than a week because I was feeling under the weather myself last week. So, yeah, I know it's been like kind of touch and go with our schedules and the like. So, what's going on down in Boogie Town?
Jack and shit, man. Jack and freaking shit. I've been checking out fucking how Bitcoin's going. Um, uh, I was a little bit. I didn't know which way the market was going because I noticed that Bitcoin was starting to rally, but then I'm starting to see what Charlie's saying is playing out, so I could see that it's probably going to go his way. That we're going to end up dumping the 52 as a possibility or 56 as far as BTC goes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I caught some of Charlie's stream earlier this evening. I think he was talking around potentially first week in May being prime buying opportunity. So I would love to see a little more dip. I know there's some things I would like to top up and load up on. I'm not opposed to it either way. I'm still running some weekly DCAs right now. My personal strategies have just backed off on the amounts or some of the things I'm not necessarily buying, or I've rotated into things that are perhaps still a prime value. I know you and I were talking earlier. We're not necessarily going to feature it in any sort of depth tonight, but Gala still under 5 cents. I know Charlie was talking a little bit about that earlier tonight. Basically, it hasn't moved as much, but it's because it's already dipped, so it ain't got as much, left to drop
Room for
down on that
the
one.
downside, man. Yeah, Gala's
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
those plays that the Moon Gang really likes, bro. Um, I do have a little bit of Gala, but I only had it to freaking I only threw in a couple $100 and shit like that a while back. Got my copy, and then I ended up moving it to MetaMask. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Got freaking Agent J here, man.
Yeah, yeah. He's just talking about the this week's thumbnail. I used Mid Journey to make some goats eating kimchi tacos. So if you check the thumbnail later, you'll get a kick out of that.
I gotta check it out, dude.
Hey, BLX, always appreciate the support, man. Thanks for coming through.
Black label expat, son. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. So interesting week. We were talking a little bit pre-stream as far as just some of the market moves going on. Actually, surprising amount of BTC news this week, and I know we'll get into that here in a minute. I was on the road this week, so I was kind of a little bit out of pocket, working that daytime grind. I was telling Boogie I was faced with just a really horrible life situation. Unfortunately, I had to go to the fine state of Massachusetts, where they tend to vote for all sorts of crazy things, and it's just a place I'm glad I left a long time ago. Haven't been haven't been living there at least for a number of years now, but it's always kind of an interesting. I know when I've gone to Massachusetts, literally I can feel it driving in the roads. You can just feel the pavement change as soon as you cross into the state of New Hampshire.
No, I bet, dude. I bet Massachusetts sounds like a place. I hear Massachusetts and I hear freaking and I feel like it's cold, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I'm further north, than they are, right? And they certainly have like the a coastline
Yeah.
with the ocean on that front. But for myself, it's
Dude,
I
that
like the
ocean breeze will kick your ass, dude. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
Dude, I mean, as like when I went to Marine Corps boot camp, bro, in San Diego, I'm like, hey, it's gonna be a piece of cake, bro. It's gonna be like it's probably better weather than Texas. I'm saying it's not gonna be as hot. Well, yeah, you're right. Texas, the weather's a lot nice, bro. Till you're sleeping outside and you get that damn ocean breeze, bro, coming in from the freaking bay, dude. Shit gets fucking cold in the AM, dude. Know what I mean?
Yeah,
Especially when you're sleeping outside. Know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've done some late fall, early winter camping up here in the Northeast, and as long as you get the right gear, it's okay. I know Boogie. We've talked about this on let's say off stream, and like weather can make just such a massive difference. Is it raining or is it snowing? Is it windy or not? Right, and I'd much rather have dry snow, so to speak, with minimal wind, like at 0 degrees, than personally have it be like 34, 40 degrees and raining. That sucks.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I remember Korea slush, bro. Slush falling from the sky. Do you ever get that down there, Twinkie? Or up
Yeah,
there?
yeah, yeah. So up here, yeah, we do occasionally get that. So that most recent storm we had a few weeks back, where I lost power for a few days, it was heavy, wet, slushy snow. It was fast and it was high wind, and so that took me out of commission. Cut off from the internet for a few days on that one. But yeah, yeah. I guess we're
Misery
old
at
now,
its
Boogie.
finest, bro. Misery at its
Yeah.
finest, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I guess we're getting old, man. We're talking about the weather here on stream. So I'm
Oh,
sure people are looking to talk about some mad gains. So I do have a little bit of news I wanted to cover for some of the BTC stuff. Let me just pull up a screen. We've got a few different things going on this week for BTC. And one of the big ones that really caught my attention here, which I'll share out here in just a moment, is some stuff with Samurai Wallet. And it's not a wallet I personally used. I always find it interesting to see who's going after whom when it comes to government and anti-money laundering or basically my personal stance is I understand, hey, we want to stop bad people from doing bad things. I do legitimately understand that. It seems like a lot of law-abiding citizens and other fine folk get caught up in it through one way or another. So in this case, we can see the feds arrested the founders of Bitcoin mixer Samurai Wallet. And the DOJ, according to Snowden, has once again criminalized developers of an app that restores financial privacy. I know I covered on my stream some of the anti-money laundering and KYC laws that the EU is enacting. So earlier this week, the authorities went after the founders of the Bitcoin mixer Samurai Wallet. They were charged with operating a cryptocurrency mixer that executed over $2 billion in unlawful transactions and facilitated more than 100 million in money laundering transactions from illegal dark web markets. Here's my personal reason why I think this is utter and complete horseshit. We know that things on chain are largely traceable, right? And there are ways, and I'm not advocating for it, and do your own research, not a lawyer, all those wonderful things. There are ways to send things through mixers or to assert a certain level of privacy when dealing with certain chains. Hypothetically, let's say Boogie and I and some other folks, BLX and Agent J and I, we all go out and we're going to throw money into a pool just to either buy dinner or buy some tequila or whatever it is. And I write my name on a $20 bill. Boogie writes his name on a $20 bill. Rinse, repeat. And then at the end of the night, we're able to trace, oh, this is Twinkie's dollar. This is Boogie's dollar. This is like versus if we just throw a stack of bills into it and, hey, this is the pile and here you go. Thank you very much. What we are being driven towards is the former case and effectively forced into that. And what I'm seeing is the real attack for me as I'm watching this and watching some of the stuff the EU's developed, which side note, they just passed some of those EU regulations. I didn't read the final bill. I'll cover that in an upcoming stream. It's really anti-anonymity and anti-privacy. That's the real attack. They don't want you to be able to move without them knowing everything about you and your business on that front. So I thought it was real interesting to hear that this week. Boogie, early thoughts on your side?
That's some BS, bro. That looks like a pretty damn dope wallet. I didn't know that it was a mixer and it does all that other shit, dude. I mean, the whole idea, bro, of everything has to be monitored where money moves from point A to point B, dude. I mean, why don't they try enforcing this shit on fucking cash, bro? You know what I'm saying? It's retarded. It's stupid, man.
The opportunities that we get in crypto are awesome, right? But at the same time, it's potentially a tool that can be used against us as well.
And I agree with Richard Hart that we need privacy, dude. It's only normal to want privacy. You know what I'm saying? If I pay you a certain amount of money because you're my employee, and then I'm paying another employee on a different contract, you can basically check what I'm paying both my employees, dude. There's no privacy in that. And I don't think that's cool, if anything, man. I know that earlier today, you and I were talking a little bit, and we had talked about the idea of, well, not the idea, it's not finalized yet, what the IRS is trying to do, to where you have to submit your wallet addresses and your transaction hashes that you have to freaking submit to the IRS every year. You end up freaking swapping up some coins or sending coins from wallet A to wallet B or to an exchange and things of that nature, bro. That's a little bit too much government, if you ask me, man. Too much government.
Yeah. In fact,
I'm really hoping we change this administration, bro, because that's fucking retarded. Know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. In fact, let me pull up the draft document here. So this is a draft of 1099 DA. And they warn you up front. Again, you can see I'm on the official irs.gov site on this, checking this out. I'm sure
they should take off that American flag there and put a fucking sickle and hammer on there, bro. I'm saying
paint the thing red, Yeah. So in this case, you have the opportunity to go make some comments. I will throw a link in chat and attach a link to this video on that front. I encourage everyone to make some comments on this. This is ridiculous. let me show you some of the other stuff they got going on here as far as this draft. And I can see my computer's getting a little finicky with all the tabs and PDFs I got open in the background. So again, these are draft forms. In this case, there'll be multiple copies. Look down here, 10A and like, is it a non-covered security? It's a non-covered security because reasons. What is your sale transaction ID on this one? What is the digital asset address, number of units? Is it recorded on the distributed ledger? AKA, is it potentially, mixed and or OTC is how I'm taking that one. What is the transfer in transaction ID? This is a bunch of garbage ass shit.
My CPA will not understand any of this shit, homie. If I was to drop this on my CPA, she'd be like, what the fuck is this, dude? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
security. So they want to know if the coin that you're dealing with is a security or not.
Yeah, like how are we supposed to make that determination?
Or if it's in lawsuit for security. Well, I mean, for example, Pulse Chain is under lawsuit because they believe it's a security. It's not yet labeled as a security. You know what I mean?
Oh no!
Yeah, not a fan on this one. Anyway, so I wanted to touch upon those particular items in the run up to our first token of the evening. I want to acknowledge a comment from a friend of the channel, BLX over here. Isn't gold or silver anonymous? No trace of past ownerships. I guess the only difference is you can't move metals in large quantities without getting noticed. That is my limited understanding. I don't really have a whole lot of physical gold that isn't some form of jewelry or attached to an instrument and like on that one. I don't know. Boogie, what's your knowledge of precious metals and metal bars and the like?
I know they're slow moving assets, bro. I think in an environment without rule of law and once bartering gets scored away with, man, then you could end up trading some of your gold and silver, bro. Once you have society come back to a peaceful nature. In other words, it's best used in without rule of law environments, I think, or environments that are really screwed up and they're coming back to its normal state. That's probably the currency that'll end up being used. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Something physical, tangible, people understand that's not requiring an internet connection or some sort of power. Yeah, totally get that. So, all right, Chart Master General, you ready to rock with a BTC chart here in a moment?
Sure, let's do that shit. Let me prep you guys the boring ass Bitcoin chart. All right, we've got Bitcoin on the weekly, on the daily first. Let's go with that. All right. BTC's current value is at about 64,212, and this is on the daily, cats. I know I've got a lot of fucking shit on here. This is the Bitcoin chart that I usually deal with. Let me zoom in a little bit better, and you can see that we're bouncing within this box. I think it was a couple days ago, man, I had mentioned that I didn't know which way Bitcoin was going to go. And I think we were around this candle here, which was April 19th. It seemed we were starting to rally to the upside as we dipped into this box and we used it as support. But I could see Charlie's situation playing out where we end up breaking down here to this area of about 51,786 or possibly lower here to about $50,000 flat. Now, mind you, you probably think this is a big area of support. When I take you to the weekly, you're going to see that this is even a bigger area of support over here. So we may end up even breaking this shit. But likelihood, we probably won't break this, man. If we activate the EMA ribbon on this sucker, you could see that we are battling the EMA ribbon to the upside. Once we compromise the EMA ribbon, we can pretty much use it as support, but right now we're under it, so it's going to be a battle to break to the upside. The badass thing about it, though, is that the EMA ribbon's tight. It's not really as open as it is over here, so I'm not expecting a shitload of volatility, at least not in the immediate time frame when it comes to the daily. As far as the Bollinger Bands goes, man, we could still travel to the first standard deviation of about 60,000, which is the lower portion of this box. If we do break the first standard deviation, we could end up coming over here to about 57,737. And then if we come over here to the third standard deviation, you're talking about 55,000. But usually, for the most part, you cats have heard me say before, whenever we touch the third standard deviation, we end up reversing to the other side. And usually you'll see a wick maybe pierce down and get to the green portion of it. And that may end up playing out that way as far as Charlie's theories go, that we hit this area of the third standard deviation with a candle body, and then the wick makes contact with this support line here of about 52,122. So let me take you monkeys over to the weekly because we have to check out the weekly as well. Shout out to Agent J. I know Agent J likes doing it on the other way around. He likes doing the weekly first, then he likes doing the freaking daily. And here we have the weekly. Now, in the weekly, if I take off all these drawings on here, what I was talking about, if we do end up breaking down to that area Charlie's talking about, you're talking about 53,000. And if you go to the candle body, 52,700. But it's only really two candles that are holding you up there on the weekly. Over here's where we have the real support of about 44,000 or 43,000. And if we use the VRVP, let's see. No trabajando ahorita. My VRVP is not working right now. Well, regardless, we can look at it manually, and you can see that there's a significant difference from here to here. If we activate the MA ribbon on this sucker, dude, nothing's working on this sucker pro today.
Yeah. It's too many tabs open. It hates you tonight.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, no shit, Sherlock. I had it off.
You had a hidden note, yeah.
I hate having brain farts like that, man. All right, there you go. There's the VRVP, man. And you can see that right here, there's not a lot of support as far as the VRVP goes on the bars. And you can see that the real bars of support are on this bar right over here. And that's the longest bar we have, and it coincides with the longer freaking oscillating sideways range we went to from October or December 4th all the way to about January 24th. You know what I'm saying? Let me see this. So that's what I got as far as BTC goes. And I could see Charlie's scenario definitely playing out, where we could end up revisiting this area here of about 51,000. Because once we break past this candle body right here, this bullish engulfing candle, there's really not a lot of support, man. So it would only make sense that we go revisit this area of about 52,000 the way Charlie states it's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And that pretty much covers a Bitcoin, son.
Nice. So let's see what we got going on here. A few other things in BTC news. Last I looked to, I believe Hong Kong had approved its spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. And I believe they start
Ethereum one too.
I believe so. And I believe they start trading next week on those. So I think some Bitcoin and some Ethereum ETFs were approved. So I believe they'll start trading on April 30th their time. So have to keep our eyes peeled to see what kind of market impacts that has under current conditions. So one of the things I'm kind of eyeballing in the background too is the performance of the S&P 500, since we are still somewhat correlated to that overall. If you actually look at some of the shapes, some of the charts, we're actually following it reasonably well. We can pick that one up a little bit in the future at a later date and time in a separate stream, just kind of eyeballing some potential thoughts there. On that one, I know Bitcoin dominance has been floating around like 55, 56%. Boogie and I were talking a little bit pre-stream based on some historic time pattern data. So again, just forgetting about volume, forgetting about other macro conditions per se. If you look at some of the peaks relative to altcoin season, Bitcoin dominance, and where we tend to see certain reversals on a time basis, looking at the halving, that potentially puts us out at an altcoin season, like major kickoff later this year, potentially December. But stay tuned to some future streams as we navigate some different chart patterns, time patterns, and the like, and just hey man, we're all trying to find a little bit of an edge here. So hopefully we stumble our way into something. Anyway, cruising right along. I know we've got a few more tokens we want to talk about this evening. Next one up we got on the block will be Ethereum. And I know as we were chatting earlier, we were talking a little bit about how Ethereum, unfortunately, it looks like the SEC is going to punt on some of the proposals. I believe last I looked, it was for Grayscale and Franklin Templeton. Basically, SEC is claiming they need more time to do some more research. I need to poke around and see what the potential delay date is, or like max cutoff date. I thought it was late May for some of the funds seeking approvals on that front.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought it was May. That's what I was thinking.
So yeah, definitely need to do a little bit more poking around on that one. As far as Ethereum, one thing I did see also this week too was Consensus basically taking a proactive stance against the SEC And let me pull up the article over here. On this
Twinkie,
one.
I wanted to ask you, what is your
Yeah.
gut feeling though, man? What I mean, I understand we don't know what's really going to happen with the Ethereum ETF, but what is your gut feeling? Do you think it's going to get approved within this time frame, or do you think they're going to have to file a lawsuit the same way they did with Bitcoin?
Well, I think Gensler and crew, and it's interesting to see some of the infighting within the SEC. I keep drawing a name, a blank on her name. She was one of the lawyers who was at SEC lawyer who was at ETH Denver, who basically said, we don't give clear regulations and rules. People are trying and we are not helping them. It'll come to me at like 3 a.m. when I'm trying to go to sleep. Anyway, what's my gut telling me? Yeah, they're going to have to litigate and go to court with the SEC, and it's probably going to be delay. I hope to be proven wrong. I hope that perhaps some folks will have a little bit more influence and sway and say, hey, Hong Kong is on board. Other regions and other countries are on board. Let me use that as a little bit of a pivot here and launching pad. What's your gut impression on it, though? Like, it needs to be litigated, Boogie, and it's going to have to drag its way through court. I hope it's not like a multi-year endeavor.
I mean, I think they're probably going to drag their feet like they always do because they don't want the crypto market to move. They want to slow it down. But I don't know if Gensler's really wanting to label it as, or I don't know if Gensler wants to end up suing and saying, you know what, we believe it's a doggone security, because they've already approved the Ethereum futures ETF, man. So it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
the SEC approved the futures, but now they're labeling it as a security deal. Like that's retarded. Are you retarded or what? I'm saying.
I mean, I think he is. He at least sucks, right? But like, what's his MO? You know, is he a desperate man just trying to have a certain level of relevancy? Is he trying to get in good and do whatever his attack dog masters are telling him to do? I don't know. Yeah. The whole thing is strange.
And he's very bold, Twinkie. He's very bold. Even though he gets jumped by Congress, bro, even though a bunch of politicians grill him, he still remains bold that he's right. He doesn't care, man. So that, I mean, somebody's pulling the strings on him. Somebody, of course, we know somebody's telling him what to do, bro. And he's not fearful of what the politicians that are pro crypto are telling him what the fuck's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we have video evidence of him and his stances when he was at MIT.
Yeah, and he doesn't give a shit. He knows it's out there, and he knows that everybody's playing. He doesn't give a shit. You know what I'm saying?
You know he's got a twin brother, right?
Really?
Yes. Yeah, his twin brother was, I think, some hedge fund manager, retired, right? Or ostensibly retired, right? I almost start to wonder, hey, is Gary doing this to try to create FUD so his twin brother can go buy up some shit?
Yeah. I mean,
imagine if it's just that simple.
Yeah, one would only assume, bro. One would only assume. Dude, wow. If they find that shit out, man, dude, they're gonna expose that shit. It's pretty much difficult to hide anything nowadays, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know his brother's been retired, I think, from the industry for a number of years. Still, just struck me as a bit odd. Anyway, segueing over here to this. So SEC is sued over Ethereum, in this case, Consensus of MetaMask fame. Has kicked off this legal fight down in Texas federal court. So they had a 34-page filing on this particular topic, and the highlight of it was, for me, the complaint stating the SEC's unlawful seizure of authority over ETH would spell disaster for the Ethereum network and for Consensus. Every holder of ETH, including Consensus, would fear violating the securities laws if he or she were to transfer ETH on the network. This would bring use of the Ethereum blockchain in the United States to a halt, crippling one of the internet's greatest innovations. And I agree. It's so widespread. It's so well used. So much of DeFi is built off of what Ethereum achieved, like the overwhelming majority of it. And the CFTC had previously ruled it is not a security. And so the infighting amongst agencies there too is also very interesting to me.
I mean, related to the topic, Twinkie, and I'm going to bring it back to this. About, I think it was on the 9th, I went to go check out that A24 Civil War movie.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a scene where the journalists, they're because the whole movie shot from a point of view of a journalist, and they end up traveling to a gas station because they need to fuel up their SUV. And they pull up there, and there's these dudes with AR-15s, and they're pretty much guarding the gas station. They're like, dude, we don't sell to anybody outside of this city or outside of this town. We only sell gas to people from this town. And Mary Jane from Spider-Man, I forgot her real name as an actress. She goes up and tells them, she tells them, well, I'll pay you. What if I pay you $300? And these individuals with AR-15s that are protecting the gas station, they're like, well, dude, that doesn't buy you shit. I mean, maybe that'll get you a ham sandwich or a tuna sandwich. Which one do you want? And she goes, no, I don't mean 300 USD. I'm talking about 300 Canadian. And I was kind of hoping when she said that she'd say Bitcoin instead of freaking doggone, instead of Canadian currency, man. You know what I'm saying? And dude, it's inevitable, bro. You can't stop this, bro. It's too late to try to stop cryptocurrencies, dude. So all these things that the SEC are doing, bro, they're pretty much just dragging their feet, attempting to slow down the inevitable. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I know we're going to pivot over here to Ethereum in a minute. One thing I forgot to mention too on the Bitcoin side of things is that I know Mt. Gox, the trustee, had revealed an updated Bitcoin repayment schedule. I saw that circulating somewhat on that. So I don't know what necessarily the impact will be on that. Some additional folks due funds should receive additional payouts over the next year. I know some folks got like double paid, and there were all sorts of distributions late last year, or issues with distributions late last year, earlier this year. Some folks in Reddit were saying like, hey, we're getting double comped or double repaid on certain things. So it'll be interesting to see as those distributions become more available and additional announcements come forward. We'll see what they have on that front. I know some folks were also saying they received fiat payments in their bank accounts, which sucks ass, right? Yeah, like I know a lot of people got anally fornicated.
Move, bro. That's a motherfucking dick move, dude.
Yeah, I know some folks got anally fornicated on the
Twinkie. Twinkie, put that on your tombstone when you die.
Some folks got anally fornicated by the Celsius payouts, right? Like the way they calculated the dollarized value at the time and the percentage payout on it. So they probably would have been less harmful had some folks gotten a percentage back of their or more of their ETH back based on current valuation versus time of snapshot. Some folks were saying, hey, looks like certain payments coming out April 8th, then April 18th, and like let's see here. So the exchange's BTC wallet currently holds about 137 and some change thousand Bitcoin. And yeah, so we'll definitely watch for additional Mt. Gox updates on the Bitcoin price and the potential impact over there.
Yeah, man. Wow. That's amazing, bro.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Let's segue over to the second most popular, most prominent, and certainly one of the other most important, powerful, goated tokens in the crypto space. Talk a little bit about some Ethereum stuff. And it's been some interesting chats, Telegram chats, people asking, hey, what's going on with ETH movement versus BTC movement? I've had some personal speculation and some opinions about BTC dominance and potential ETH impacts and capital rotations. One of the things I am continuing to wonder is, will capital rotations look different this cycle? So if boomers are coming in and they're buying up things like Bitcoin and hopefully in the near future, ETH through the ETFs, does capital tend to get locked up in the form of ETFs or this cycle, a larger percentage of capital is locked up in that because they're effectively SEC approved, SEC blessed solutions and investment vehicles on that. So do they in turn start to suck up more of that economic energy? Because if I'm a boomer and I'm buying it through an ETF, I am not personally, odds are, managing that capital rotation myself to altcoins. Boogie, thoughts on that one?
I do think that the boomers are going to end up pumping the market, bro. Especially with the ETFs. I don't know if they'll buy Ethereum ETFs as much as they'll buy Bitcoin ETFs because, dude, I talk to civvies all the time, bro. And, dude, they're like, or not civvies, but I talk to like regular normies all the time, bro. And they have no idea what ETH is, dude. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if the boomers will end up buying fucking a lot of ETH up. I do think that they're definitely going to move the market to the upside with Bitcoin. I was having a conversation with a close friend, and I told him, man, who do you think's stronger, man? The whales within Bitcoin at the current time being, or the whole boomer generation within the United States? He goes, dude, the boomers, bro. The boomers got all the dinero, man, and they're the ones that are holding majority of the real estate as well. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them have, they have increased, or they have at least 2x their retirement with Bitcoin, man. So they're bullish on it.
Yeah. We'll see. Let's see here. What we got going on. I see BLX had a comment here earlier about the Ethereum ETF delayed once or twice and then approved once Gary is out of options. Yeah, that dude's backed into a corner. I think he is trying to appease his masters. However, he keeps taking L after L after L. So at some point in time, he's probably not going to pull out a W. All he can show is that he was a good attack dog. Anyway, let's pivot over. You got something for us, Boogie?
No. At the end of the day, that's what I said.
Yeah. These man's out of options. Anyway, pivoting over to some more doodlings, drawings. I know Boogie's very skilled in his handling of crayons over here.
It's a marine thing there, Twinksters. Crayon.
Take us through it, brother.
Yeah, Ethereum's current value is at about 3,157, man. At the time being, it does seem like it's oscillating sideways on the daily. We could possibly make contact with this area here at about 30,000. I think we'll probably end up hitting that. Let's turn off a little bit of the drawing so we can see the charts a little bit more. We do have a decent amount of support here, bro. I would like to see Ethereum come down here to about 26.25. It is a possibility. If we activate our EMA ribbon, you can see that we're also under the EMA ribbon, which is acting as an area of resistance. And another thing that's kind of bearish as far as the EMA ribbon goes, which I like, is that the bottom portion, which is the red portion, is to the top side, and the yellow portion is to the downside, which entails we're probably going to come down. Now, it would not surprise me if we go revisit this area of the 200 EMA, which is this blue line, the Cyan line that's traveling right here, and its value is at 27.43. That's where I could see Ethereum going to. If we check this sucker out on the weekly, son, let's see what it looks like on the weekly, man. And we turn all this shit off, you can see that the strongest area of support that we do have in the immediate time frame, bro, is right up over here at about 24.84, and this conglomerate of candles right here. So I know a bunch of fucking drawings are gonna pop up, but right there in that area, bro. That's where I could see Ethereum traveling to. I'm hoping it goes down there. Now, I was telling you earlier, and of course we're gonna end up diving into the pulse chain chart a little bit later, man. I do think that once Ethereum goes back up to $3,500, bro, or $4,000, I am expecting the pulse chain ecosystem to start moving along with it. You know what I'm saying? That's when I think there'll be significant gains to the upside. And that is what I am seeing on Ethereum. But let me check out the VRVP on this bad boy. And you can see right here where we're currently at, there is decent support. We got a big ass bar at about 31.52, and then the next biggest bar is this white line right here, which is 29.47, and then we would eventually end up stopping somewhere around here, 27. Hopefully, dude, I mean, keep your fingers crossed. I don't think this will happen, Twinkie, but dude, how dope would it be if we come revisit 21.43, bro?
I'm backing up the truck.
Yeah,
I've been, we've talked about this, Boogie. Like, I'm kind of working on building out some dry powder reserves. I have built out a cannonball. I am ready to chuck if we get that kind of opportunity. Shout out to Alex.
I'm trying to tell my Trans Am to buy more crypto, bro. You know what I'm saying?
DCC was saying you have to sell some of your firearms and projectile tools.
That's not going to happen.
And he was like, "Oh, you think it's funny, Twinkie? Why don't you go sell more guitars?" And I was like, "Yo, DCC, I'm down to my last 15. You're like, what's a brother got to do? You know?"
Yeah, man.
But
a lot of people don't know, man. Well, I don't know too much about the guitar market, bro, but the firearm market, dude, a lot of my weapons, for example, that SKS you see right there at the top.
Yes.
That motherfucker, I remember when I was a little boy, you can get it for $75, bro. These, if you go on Gunbroker and you're trying to get a Tula Factory SKS, bro, from the Tula Factory in the former Soviet Union, bro, you're talking about paying close to about $1,200 for it, bro. And that is a clip-based weapon, dude, with a 10-round attached box magazine, dude. There's nothing tactical about it, dude. And the value of weapons go up significantly, especially after they've been discontinued. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, and SKS and in turn the AK, right, are found everywhere, all over the face of the planet. You know, it's for either production, milsurp, comm block. Yeah, they're everywhere. Right? I'd argue those are some of the real weapons of mass destruction in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, man.
Let's see here. Talking about ETH, isn't most liquidity on Pulse Chain in the ETH Pulse pair? I would have to take a look at that, Centurion. That is my overall recollection on that. And I certainly wouldn't be surprised. And certainly that is got a massive prime to pump if and when ETH runs hard on that front. So let's see here. Outside of that, Boogie, you know me, I take a shower once a year, whether I need it or not. I know you're a little bit more in the cologne and fragrance space on that one.
Yeah.
So what are you rocking this week, man?
Fragrance of the day, man. Armani Code Absolute, another discontinued sucker. This sucker has been discontinued again. Let me go ahead and share my screen, what it runs for on eBay. I give this fragrance an 8 out of 10. Some people rate it a 10 out of 10. And let me share that data with you cats. And you can see it here on eBay. Boom. It runs for about $164, brand spanking new. I know it's been discontinued, and this is only a 60 ml, bro. Vibes that I get from it, or notes that I'm getting from this bad boy. Let me share that with you here at fragrantica.com. And you could see that it is mostly vanilla, and then it's powdery sweet and amber. It is a good date night fragrance. Do not wear this during the hot summer days, bro, because you will choke a motherfucker out, bro. How many sprays would I put on this bad boy, man? If I'm going to be outside, for example, going on a walk at the park with a chick, man, I do about 5 sprays. If I'm going to be indoors, we're going to have a fucking Starbucks date, $3. 3 sprays. Okay? That's what I would pull off on this sucker.
Okay.
So it does last a good while and does smell pretty good. You know what I'm saying?
It's got some firepower behind it, some staying power.
Yeah, it does.
Good projection. Yeah.
It emits about 3 feet from where you're at. And it does stay on skin approximately about 5 to 6 hours. So it's decent. You know what I'm saying?
Got it. All right.
Boom. Fragrance of the day, son.
There you heard it, folks. All right. We got a few tokens left. Boogie, what would you like to rotate into next? We got Phantom, Pulse Chain, and Pulse X.
I want to do some Phantom.
All right, let's talk about Phantom. I know you and I have enjoyed chatting and observing the actions of the Phantom Goat. I know the Goat was out there in Dubai sponsoring some parties and rubbing some elbows. I do wonder who that Phantom Goat is. If for the viewers, if y'all know or have some suspicions, I'm curious. I don't need the dude to, or he, she, it, they to be doxxed. I'm just really curious to find out who they might be on that one. Interesting bit of news over the last few days on this one. In the case of the Phantom Foundation, they had the first Opera validator running Sonic Tech was already launched. And so Phantom Foundation, I'm going to just quickly rethrow my screen back up here. You can follow them on Twitter. I enjoy reading the Phantom Foundation posts. I think they do a lot of cool stuff and share a lot of good intel on what they got going on in the Phantom network. In this case, they've got plans for node transitions. They outline what you need to do to update the nodes. And in this case, there you have some also posts about consensus majority. So they need 2/3 of the network's staking power to be run on Sonic in this case. And then they outline what they deem staking powers, what validators 3 and 4 are. I know the Phantom Goat has highlighted which validators he, she, it, they hold on that one. So information on the Phantom Foundation and especially for Sonic is out there. I'll throw that out as a quick repost here so people can check it out. Yeah. I know I have a solid Phantom holding on my side. I look forward to getting more Phantom if and when we have a key dip or key buying opportunity. What are your thoughts on Phantom, Boogie, and how it's looking right now?
I mean, yeah, sure, no problem, man. I think that Phantom's gonna do pretty damn well, bro. I just wish I had bought more of it. I mean, unfortunately, I did buy a good amount, especially during when it got down to 18 cents, 16 cents. I bought a lot in the 20-cent area. I wish I could have aped in more, man, but I was making Pulse Chain and the Pulse Chain ecosystem my priority.
Same.
But I did get a decent amount, man. I wish I could have gotten more, bro. Not that I would want a black swan, bro, but if a black swan were to occur and we were to revisit that 20-cent area, bro, yeah, man. Boogie's gonna go get a loan. Boogie's gonna go get a loan. Now, let me bring it back to you, Twinksters. I've been hearing a lot of people talking shit about Solana because they're getting about 70% failed transactions over there on average until they release that Fire Dancer shit. I really haven't looked too much into Fire Dancer. Do you think a good amount of memes will eventually migrate over to frickin' Phantom, bro? And I think that'd be a great place to have memes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, what's the benefit of potentially putting memes on Phantom? Eyeballs, right? Like in a lot of ways, we've had a really meme driven number of weeks, maybe a couple months here. I don't know. Time flies in crypto time. Um, I would love to see more memes to bring some level of more adoption and new users to Phantom. I think Phantom's got a really good narrative behind Sonic and their rollout on that front, and some of the bridging and overall performance, time to finality, underlying under the hood improvements that they could potentially roll out to other EVM based chains, plus Phantom related memes, lower cost of transaction compared to ETH mainnet. One of the things I am watching is just to see how Base does things. I've spitballed on this a bit before. I think Coinbase is going to bring a ton of additional normies onto the network between the Coinbase smart wallet that they've been highlighting in some of their tech demos, as well as the overall, let's say, ease of onboarding through Coinbase, the brand Coinbase, their ability to climb up App Store rankings on that front. So I wonder what Coinbase smart wallet will do with other exchanges, dexes, and other chains. At least on Phantom, if you're a US customer, I know you can get Phantom from a few different locations. Kraken obviously being the most obvious one where you can get some native Phantom. So get some native Phantom, bridge it over. We need some green candles on some really fun, entertaining, cool memes. Ideally, in my mind, it's a fresh meme that, oh, I got to get that, versus like, not a Pepe clone or necessarily Pepe derivative. So what is a super cool, potentially original meme that they can put on the Phantom network? That would be a winning idea. Bonus points if, shout out to Almighty, you get effectively what's a meme token with some utility, or utility, which is a meme. And it just brings some more eyeballs over on the Phantom network. But, hey, man, I'm in it for the tech and the mad gains.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea, man. They're for freaking doggone Almighty, bro. I know that he's not completely just a Hex Maxi, I'm saying, or a Pulse Chain Maxi, dude. That would be pretty dope if he launched something over there. I think that'd be pretty cool, man. I can't remember a lot of memes. I mean, we had that Kirby one and all these other minor meme coins. I do know that I do know the Phantom Goat is pushing for a lot of memes. We've heard of Dre the Sonic, and the upcoming Speedy one that's coming up and stuff like that. I think memes are going to be a great fucking entryway into Phantom. We just got to get a good popular one that we could bring up there, like Ghost Shib or something like that. I'm saying that'd be pretty damn gangster. I still have yet to figure out, man, how this whole Sonic Phantom's gonna work, bro. If it's gonna be like Phantom in itself is gonna be Ethereum, and then Sonic Phantom's gonna be like Pulse Chain, kind of like that, and then we use that L2 technology to bridge it over. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a little bit faster. And mind you, would you want to bridge over, bro? Phantom's already fast enough as it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it can go faster, right? Like, it's like it's like dudes who find a way to overclock or soup out, their Raris and like Bugattis and supercars. It's like, yeah, it's already fast as shit and cool, but it can go faster.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing I wanted to mention, shout out to the Ascending Man from the DGen Roundtable. He's the one that he mentioned it first to me before anybody else. I remember last bull cycle, if you try to remove anything from crypto.com, automatically there was an exchange fee of about $35 automatically. And he had actually even mentioned that Phantom, bro, it's only like what, 2% fee, bro. So it's really cheap, bro, to buy native Phantom on crypto.com and then offboard it. It's just a bitch to whitelist your address before you can end up extracting the tokens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's a little bit cheaper than Kraken. You know what I'm saying? I know Gemini has it via ERC20. And from my understanding, Robinhood has already listed Phantom over in the UK as a testing grounds before they bring it over here to the United States.
That's cool. Well, I would love to see more things adopt Phantom. I'm still convinced the future will ultimately be multi-chain, with certain things run better on certain networks and or certain things have more liquidity on certain networks. It'll be interesting to see how some of the liquidity challenges are ultimately solved. Hey, Boogie, I think one of your fans has got a question for you.
Sure, bring it up. ever try the deep water Victoria's Secret for men? No, I haven't tried that one. Wasn't it called Platinum something, dude? I remember from the Return on Flex webinar, DCC recommended it. I will check it out, man. You know what? As a matter of fact, if that's the name of the fragrance, I will actually buy it tonight, man, and hit it up with a review just for you, man. And I think, I mean, I don't own any of the Victoria's Secret line freaking fragrances, so I think that's one I need to add to my collection. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, why not? I'm gonna have to check it out and give us the future Boogie review on that one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude.
All right, Boogie. So we chatted a little bit about Phantom and some memes and the Sonic Goat and the like, as well as Sonic's tech. When you're ready to rock, let's take a look at that Phantom chart, brother.
It is up, my friend. All right. Phantom's current values are about 76 cents, dude. Yeah, wait. I mean, it would be so gangster, bro. We bring this sucker back down to freaking 20 cents or 18 cents. I would really like that. I don't think that's going to happen. If you could see historically, man, this was the area where I was buying some of that 20-cent Phantom right here on these areas. I think it was from the time frame of about July 23, July 27, all the way to about what? Freaking August 14th, and then ended up dipping lower. And I bought some more over here. And I did get to buy, dude. I didn't have too much money, bro. When I think I threw in like $300, $400, dude. I bought some Phantom down here, and I was like, dude, I wanted to ape in more, but dude, Pulse Chain was also at a great value at that time, man. So Phantom's current value is at about 76 cents. Now, I do see a little bit of support here that I haven't drawn it up for. You can see these two candles right here, man, on the shoulders. That'll be 71 cents. We could end up retracing to that, and in this spot area right here. And then if we break down lower, which would be pretty damn gangster, we could catch it down here at about 59 cents. But I would probably wait a little bit, and I would try to get it here at about 71 cents, dude, if you haven't had any Phantom. Of course, you can see that we have a shitload of support down here with this giant red and white box. Of course, that's referencing the tops over here that we did have, and the tops over here that we jumped into, and then we popped back into, and then we crashed all the way down there. Now, mind you, let's see how it's doing with the EMA ribbon. And a lot like Ethereum, we are under the EMA ribbon, but it's still a little bit more bullish than Ethereum, for the reason being that the yellow lines are still at the top of the EMA ribbon and the red lines are at the bottom. I'm just hoping it does reject it down here. And if we do break past down 59 cents, we do have this 200 EMA coming to the upside, and it's going to try to stop us here at about 57 cents. So let's check to see what this sucker looks like on the weekly. And on the weekly, there's evident data right here that it could come back down here to about 57 cents. That one area that I had mentioned at about 71 cents, you can't really see that data because there was, I think it was only 2 days worth of data that we had Phantom at about 71 cents. So we could possibly break down here to this area of about 57 cents. Charlie had mentioned that we could even come down to about 50 cents right over here. And he's probably citing this area right here, Twinksters. See that part right there? Let me see if I can draw up a box right there in this general area right there, bro. That's where I think Charlie's talking about, and that's where I have my little drawing on there, man. But I could see Phantom definitely retracing to that. If we activate our Bollinger Bands, we could definitely come back down here to about 59 cents for that 20 moving averages before we get down to that 50 cent area. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so one of the things that I find interesting, and I love your drawings, Boogie, because I can feel when you click them on, my autism intensifies.
You're
let me just quickly highlight one thing I am eyeballing here on one of my charts, and I smooth my smooth brain and just DCA on certain things. Let me quickly reshare this. Is how well so far Phantom has been honoring and upholding that trend line. So it'll be interesting,
weekly, right?
Yeah, I'm on the weekly on that bad boy on that one. And so personally, my DCA, or sorry, my average purchase price is around 35 cents right now for Phantom. If I have the opportunity to take that down, you best believe it. I know we've talked about let's say, prior to Pulse Chain, right, when EHEX was EHEX of old, I
Yeah.
took my, average purchase price from 18 cents down to 3 cents. And, that was a challenge. But I did it, I know you had a similar story on that front.
Oh, it was so hard, bro, to bring down the value of my EHEX, bro. It was so freaking hard, dude. It was difficult, dude. It was difficult, but I managed to do it, man. I brought it down to an average of about, what, 5 cents, 4 cents?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, it
Nice.
was difficult to move that fucking needle, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're like, okay, cool. I'm going to drop freaking $4,000 this time. Boom. It moves like half a cent. It moves like half a cent, bro. I'm like, oh, my dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and so one of the things too, folks can eyeball, and this is something I've been doing increasingly. You can look at things in terms of direct ratios or but looking for certain relationships with BTC. I know Charlie's called out previously, so shout out to Charlie for making certain things easier. Appreciate the courses he and DCC have put on, plus stuff I've learned from some of our friends like yourself, DGen Roundtable, guys like DIY Investing, Access. Right, I'm just trying to learn from everyone and be a sponge. And some of the stuff makes immediate sense. Some stuff I like pencil down. I got to come back to. Charlie's talked about this. If you see BTC drop a few percentage points, like let's say 5%, you might see some of your alts drop 10, 15, 20%, depending on just the overall quality of the alt itself. So for some of the viewers, if you start seeing BTC slide down, odds are there's a good chance you're going to be able to get a disproportionate amount of value out of some of your good alt tokens on that run. So in this particular case, as we start getting down to like lower 70s, we start seeing that kind of slide. I'm going to start ramping up some of my DCAs. I just mentioned at the same time, my average purchase price is sitting at around 35 cents, right? It's going to take some work to get down to 35 cents. I think if, we start falling through something like 50 cents, 42 cents or every time we're hitting some of those levels, I'm going harder. Also, too, depending on what the market outlook looks like to me as the next few weeks, months shape up on that front, I may increase the size of some of my weekly or bi-weekly DCAs into some of the tokens I'm holding.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
All right. So
there.
We're approaching the home stretch on some of this stuff. We're going to pivot. Speaking of altcoins and we'll take a look at some of the Richard Hart tokens here in just a moment. One of the things I wanted to acknowledge is Richard Hart's Twitter is always a delight. For those of you who don't follow him, you really should be, especially if you're a Pulse Chain holder, as the market always reacts interestingly whenever Richard has any sort of even remotely significant news relative to his solutions on that front. So in this particular case, I'm going to tie a few different threads together, both from macro back to crypto to the Let me just reshare my screen here so we get that one rocking. You're
pulling up his Twitter?
Yeah, let me just pop over to his Twitter here.
Let's see.
And blow this up slightly. Bam. All right. So in this particular case, what I'm highlighting here is you can't escape inflation by earning interest in banks. Almost never will a bank pay you more interest than the real inflation. That's why we're all effectively in crypto, right? We're looking for faster horses to get out of here. You just lose purchasing power slower unless they do a bail-in or you're over the FDIC limit in the bank bust. Then you lose real fast. So I think for some folks maybe who are on the fence on crypto, and I know some folks know me outside of the crypto YouTube, crypto Twitter, Telegram community on this. They're eyeballing this and they've maybe been a little bit hesitant to look at some things. Let's just talk some basic facts. We're 34 plus trillion in debt, effectively with recent rounds of budget approvals and funding for countries not the US. We are on track to double our deficit or more this calendar year, and this fiscal year for the government. If you are leaving your money in the bank, your interest rate is piss poor. They are sending gobs of money overseas. Not only is your interest rate super slow, but you'll be inflated out. And based on current trend where we have conflict in the Ukraine, who knows what level of involvement we're going to get into it with Israel around in the Middle East again. And who knows what the future holds for something like China making a move on Taiwan. And the money printer's got to get kicked back on. Inflation is sticky. GDP is below target. Yet inflation continues to run hot. Prices are up. They're between a rock and a hard place. And I think if you look at, we're in an election year, typically the best chance you have of winning statistically, there's like a 66% plus, I think, probability of you winning the election if you are the incumbent, unless the economy is shitty. So for the period of time between here and getting to the voting booth, they need people to feel confident about the economy. What's going to help people feel more confident? Generally speaking, money in their pockets. Of course, people will blow it on all sorts of things. If you get Biden bucks or whatever they end up being called this go around, please throw them into some sort of appreciating asset on that front. But
I think it's going to be kind of difficult, Twinksters, for them to approve a freaking stimulus package, bro, especially with a Republican-held Congress, dude. You know what I'm saying? And I know the Republicans don't want to. I mean, maybe they do, bro, because a lot of them are rhinos and they don't want Trump to win, if anything. They'd rather have a Democrat in office. So I don't think they'll throw us a stimulus, and I don't think Congress will approve one at the time being, at least. Quote me on that. I could be wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, who knows, man? The Centurion's got a good comment here. Even the 5% of holding USDC on Coinbase is better than holding dollars in your bank. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course, like with the potential pitfalls of it being a centralized exchange and the like, but Coinbase has been pretty solid so far. Their revenues look fantastic, and some of their profit margins, they're killing it on Coinbase as a service and some of their transaction fees. I was actually just talking with somebody about this the other day. Literally the same exact conversation. I was like, your bank is offering you 0.1%. What money do you think you want to put in crypto? Just park it in USDC on Coinbase, right? It's already going to be like 50 times the interest rate that you're getting from your bank right off rip. Never mind the potential mad gains you can get into moving into other alt tokens.
Dude, when you got Big Mac's value outperforming the American dollar, bro, you got freaking problems, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We're banged up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Mickey D's is fucking, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy,
so,
dude.
Yeah, Richard calling out some of the bank scenarios there, right? And at this point in time, the only thing I keep in the bank is my emergency fund, just to be liquid on different things. I think Coinbase is the chosen centralized exchange of the U.S. government. I believe it. I know some of the tokens for, what was it, Silk Road, some of the government holdings were moved there, and I believe it's something like 8 or 10 out of the 11 ETFs approved to date, whatever the number is. Overwhelming majority is custodian through Coinbase on that. So that's a pretty strong endorsement as far as those types of activities go.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Anyway, we've chatted a little bit about Richard Hart's Twitter. Again, I encourage everyone to follow it. Let's pivot over to Pulse Chain, which I think is representing a great value. I know we talked a little bit about this with Almighty the other week, talking about potentially stuff falling further below SAC price. And last I looked, it was about 71% of SAC price. So if you need to top up some bags for the audience, I think it's a pretty solid opportunity. We potentially will have increasingly better opportunities on that front. But for anyone who's looking to bring down potentially some of their average purchase prices, anyone who's newer to the Pulse Chain community and the Pulse Chain opportunity, not a bad idea to be DCing your way in. What do you got for us, Boogie?
Yeah, man. Current value of Pulse Chain is about 4 zeros and a 7072, man. You can see Pulse Chain wanting to retrace to this area here. Let me grab this line here, push it up this way. And of course, this line represents these conglomerate of candles over here, or this upper portion of this rounding top. And that's probably the next area we could make contact with. But I will show you on the weekly why we may only end up wicking down here. Now, I also have a little bit of support over here. So if I push this way as well, we are currently on that value right now. And that's where we're at. As far as the Bollinger Bands goes, man, you could see that we could travel to the second standard deviation, which is the only really thing showed on these Bollinger Bands, which is 4 zeros and a 6, 3, 5, 3, man. As far as the 20-day cycles on this bad boy, currently we are barely at about day 14. Well, dude, that could probably be this new day that we just printed about 3 hours ago or 2.5 hours ago. Could be the reversal point when we end up pumping to the upside. Now, mind you, we do have room to travel all the way here to about day 21, which is May 3rd. That could be the last day we end up freaking dumping before we end up making a little bit of a reversal. And hopefully reclaim this area of the green box, and that value is at approximately 40 and an 8593. Now I want to show you this sucker on the weekly. I've got a chart prep for you cats. Let me present that for you. Over here to Go Pulse. What do we got here? Is this Pulse chain? Let's see. Boom. Right here. Now, check this out. You could see that this is on the weekly, by the way. You can see that Pulse chain is making contact with this trend line that is going in an ascending fashion. Now, if I grab my little drawing here, right here, my triangle, you can see on the weekly we are on an ascending triangle. At least that's what I'm noticing. We did break out of it a little bit, and there we're coming back into it, and maybe that we're going to start bouncing within it. And that's what I'm noticing on the weekly with Pulse chain. Now, we just recently broke this freaking top right here, this yellow line. And let me push this down a little bit more. Boom, right there. And we didn't break out of it. I mean, we did wick past it, but we're currently working on the tops of these candles right here, which is the next area of support. If we do go down lower, we do have decent support here of about 40 and a 6321. But that may be the area we end up wicking to if we don't get a candle body on that sucker. And that pretty much covers Pulse chain as far as it goes. It is at a great buying opportunity. I do know the Hex community is going freaking ballistic, dude. I like calling them the Hex community because I think Pulsican sounds stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of that, I'm wearing this shirt here. I got it at the Pulse Chain Tour.
That's dope, man.
Yeah. Centurion with a question. I can finally get my 150 million goal of Pulse. Was hoping to see 60% of SAC for final buy to pack my bag. Are you guys going to keep your farms active once we do start pumping? Okay, so I think there's a few different things we can take away from that. So first and foremost, good on you, Centurion, for working on punching up and achieving that goal. Kudos to you, man. I know Boogie and I have talked about it behind the scenes about some of our bags and some of our target numbers and the like. One of the things he and I talked about was I'm personally planning on keeping ballpark about 20% of my bag in the ecosystem under current condition. And again, as things shape up over the year, that's based on the conditions of today, what the conditions look like in 3, 6, 9 months next year. That those numbers may shift around. That's just my current plan. And so Boogie's like, well, why don't you just go set aside the 20% now? And I was like, actually, I'll just go buy the additional 20% now. Yeah. And that's what I did that particular week, and parked it in a separate wallet, and it's just chilling there. I also have about 10% of my bag, I would say, parked in PulseX, and I got that position fairly early in the PulseX farm on that one, and I've kind of left that alone. I mentioned on a prior stream, I had a conversation with a gentleman who sold his house and took some of the gains and threw them into assorted farms, and he's just letting them ride, and he's living solely off the ink yield and periodically selling out of ink at opportune times. It's a little aggressive for me. I'm not quite there yet. Someday. On that one. So hoping to see 60% of SAC for final buy. Boogie, you mentioned you got some support down there. We're sitting at around 70% of SAC, give or take. I know you had that trend line, and we're potentially, I think it was like
again.
Yeah, either yellow or green line. I think it was like around 63% of SAC is kind of what it was floating at.
Yeah, see it right there?
Yeah, let me pull that comment down so we can see the chart.
That is on the weekly, man. And this is where we're currently at right now.
Yeah.
I take a measuring tool, and grab this measuring tool from the current value right now, and I pull it up to this area right here, which is the top of this candle over here. You're talking about we are down approximately 74%. If we go to the candle body, it's about 68%. If we go to the recent highest we made, not counting initial launch, we're down 184%. Go all the way up to the all-time high, which is close to the day of the launch, we are down 305%. You know what I'm saying? So it is one hell of a buying opportunity, man. If you guys haven't finished up getting your freaking positions, to be redundant on what Twinkie said, if you can, one of the ways that a lot of people in the crypto mindset course are doing things, they intend to keep 10% of their bag after the bull run, even though it's going to end up dumping pretty hard and they're going to end up selling the rest. This wouldn't be a bad idea, man, to grab your 20% or your 10% now and then just put that aside in a separate MetaMask wallet or something like that if you can't afford a Trezor because you're still aping in. and just hold on to that, man. Hold on to that shit while the rest of the freaking market, you end up selling the rest of your coins once we start approaching the top. Know what I mean, monkeys?
Yeah, and I think Boogie, to your point, and looking at your chart here, and like it's basically a really solid asymmetrical bet. Never mind. Okay, look, I'm not going to wish we don't hit 10,000x, 14,000x. I know Axis has talked about leaving some assets continually parked in the crypto space as you make some gains and leaving it in for the long haul. I know on my Solana bag, I left it staked through the bear market. And what I did is I took some of that Solana yield and I used that as dry powder for other positions and other projects. So personally, Centurion, I am going to leave or I'm planning, I should say, on leaving some portion of my bag parked in the farms. I find for certain projects where they have potentially longer time locks, it's good to keep the things staked on, like, watch out for time locks for current market. I was talking with somebody else, like if it's just 6-month time lock, you potentially are missing a major window. What do you got for us, Boogie?
Yeah, a good idea to do, man. If you want to, I mean, if you got the funds to support a validator, bro, if you got the dinero to support a validator, why not put that freaking 10% or that 20% you're going to hold on to anyways and just throw it in the validator, bro? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and my personal counter to that is I got somewhat hampered by, I was like, I had some dot that was, speaking of dot, a wild moon pill rational optic shows up that was staked out, and man, that dot unstake length of like what 28 days to unbond is kind of brutal, right?
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about, there's one gentleman in one of the Telegram chats, he was saying like, oh, I was too staked out on Hex, I would have $4 million right now if I wasn't so staked out. So you definitely got to have a solid chunk liquid. I know DCC and Charlie have talked about, hey, don't stake more than maybe 20-30% of your bag. The rest is up to your level of degeneracy on this stuff.
I've encountered that too, man, on crypto.com, bro, on the website, especially if you're using their debit cards and stuff like that. They do have a bonding time before you can extract the tokens. I know where you're coming from on that. But what I'm referring to is, I mean, I have no intention of selling that 10% or that 20%, especially if I buy it now, keeping it aside for next bull run. Know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a solid plan, Centurion. For myself, the Pulse X farms are easy enough to get out of on that. It's not a super long-term stake like some of the other projects are that are out there. I don't have those same concerns. Obviously, for some folks, impermanent loss is a concern. I generally don't mind holding Pulse versus Pulse X. I feel like they're both very solid projects. That said, just based on my own prior experience, I prefer to keep the majority of my bag liquid. I am looking at potentially upping a few percentage points in some of those farms, but nothing extravagant on that front. So to, I guess, try to sum up my personal stance, one, I'm continuing to DCA in on Pulse, and two, I do plan on keeping some farms active. I may move to a different farm, but keeping some of my farm positions active once we do start pumping, and currently tentatively planning through a bear market as well. And then Moonpill here saying staking is hard, but a good way I've kept going over the downturn 2 years ago and through the bear market. Absolutely. That Solana stake I have left running off the bear market helped me out a lot for getting and improving some positions this particular cycle. Speaking of farms and things like that, I think we're moving on to the final token of the evening, PulseX, which is also, I'm thinking, a great buy, great value right now. It's held up pretty well.
To the message you just got right now, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like, people can read my mind on some of this stuff. But it's held up pretty well. That ratio has stayed somewhat consistent. Like one pulse is about 2.42 PulseX, give or take, on that front. So for anyone who likes to ratio trade, keep your eye on some of those ratios. And we got Bronx Kid Crypto asking, do you think PulseX will do better than Pulse? Here's my personal opinion. I think they're both going to perform very well. If one of them takes off, it'll drag the other one up with it. I think as far as ideal peak performance, best runtime, they will have slightly different timings on that front, because Pulse is kind of the Ethereum, PulseX is kind of Uniswap. Although I do see an argument. The benefit to PulseX is it can only ever really be bought, sacrificed for, and minted through those channels. It's not like more is coming into existence. There's no additional inflation for it. It can only ever really be destroyed. So I think PulseX has a really interesting use case as potentially long-term store of value, and who knows what other scenarios Richard's got up his sleeve on some of that stuff.
Yeah, man. PulseX, I think, in my opinion, Twinksters, I think PulseX, I mean, usually dumps harder than Pulse Chain, bro. It also runs up faster than Pulse Chain. I'm assuming because, dude, people are sleeping on this token, bro. I think a lot of cats are sleeping on this token. As a matter of fact, one of the main tokens that I am collecting is Fame. Of course, we're not really going to show that chart today, but the main reason I'm collecting Fame is because I do want to increase the value of my PulseX bags. I do think PulseX is going to perform pretty damn good, bro. And I think once buy and burn, bro, when people really notice that buy and burn, dude, that we're going to see that PulseX does have a pretty good freaking utility, bro, as far as the Pulse Chain tokens go. Know what I mean? PulseX right now is actually on support. Well, it's approaching support, and we're talking about daily support as far as these two candles go right here at the average of about 4 zeros and 2855. We're at a 2917. It would not surprise me if we come back down here to this yellow line, revisit it at 2467. If we're lucky, hopefully we get it down here, man, at about 2212, if anything. Now, I also have this on the weekly, bro, but it pretty much tracks pretty well with Pulse Chain. So when I show you the Pulse Chain chart or the PulseX chart on the weekly, it's going to look pretty damn similar. Let me show you cats what I mean by that. Let's see, PulseX charts. Go Pulse, not that one, but this one, son. And you can see it looks very similar to Pulse Chain, except Pulse Chain's already made contact with the bottom portion of the trend line. Hopefully, if it does come down here, man, and we do make contact with these tops here on the weekly, it perfectly aligns to this portion of the ascending freaking trend that we do have here. And that value would approximately put us at about 4 zeros and a 2292, if anything. You know what I'm saying? I think this is a great token to collect. Twinksters, is it GoPulse.com that has the whale charts or the sea creature charts on it, on this shit?
Yeah, sure is. Sure is.
Can you pull that up, man? So
yeah,
we
sure.
can show the people, I mean, what position you're really in if you're into that type of freaking shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, cats, I do think that PulseX is going to do pretty damn good, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on PulseX, man. A lot of people are sleeping on PulseX. I don't know if Richard will eventually launch Ethereum on PulseX the same way freaking 9inch did. You know what I mean? It would be pretty dope if he did. I am seeing a white screen, Twinksters. There it is.
So in this particular case, PulseX, if you're looking for a turtle position, crab to turtle, you get 142 mil to get up to turtle position on that. 136 mil over on the pulse side of things. You need 30 units on the incentive side of things. And then
dude, they have changed the chart on this, Twinkie. I remember that Pulse Chain used to be about, I remember PulseX used to be 172 million, bro. To be a squid. They changed the fucking the doggone positions on this.
Yeah, and I don't know how often those things are updated, but I would expect certain ones to ripple outward. So for example, given incentive token has a level of inflation to it, I would expect the number to go up over time in order to maintain your position on that versus PulseX. Well, the number of units, I should say, a number of tokens required. Whereas with PulseX has that buy and burn, but in principle, those tokens gain value over time. So the number I would anticipate would be lower on PulseX or be driven downwards over time.
Yeah, dude. And this is, I mean, you guys can use this chart, bro, to go ahead and set your goals to where you want to get to, bro. It'd be pretty damn gangster, man, getting to that new squid position on PulseX and Pulse Chain, if anything. Twinksters, I remember that you needed about how many tokens, bro, when we had talked a while back to get a squid position in ink. Do you remember what it was? Now it's 301.
Yeah, I think it was 200 something. Like
yeah,
like
dude,
low 200 at the time. But again, as incentive token, gets continues to be produced, I can see that happening over time. One of the other things too that I would at least kind of park in the back of your brain. I know we've talked about this. Boogie and I have talked about potentially 33-cent pulse chain and the like. One of the challenges there, though, will be there's always a bigger fish, so to speak. And so if you've got 1 billion tokens, 33-cent pulse is what, 330 million? Can you let 330 mil slide by? And so where I'm going with this is if I know, for example, I've got 142 mil, it's reasonable to think that there are going to be other players in the system in turn that have 1.4 bill and some change on upward. So their potential time to hit or their price target they need to hit $1 million, hundreds of millions of dollars, and so on and so forth, is going to be lower than yours because they have more total units, more of the total supply. So something to keep in mind that 1 cent, 3 cent, tenth of a cent type marks, those different scenarios, there may be certain amounts of value in trying to front run or DCA slightly before, on, and after them to address some of your average purchase prices. And of course, the really obvious thing is, hey, try to find a way to improve your cash flow, try to get more units and acquire more total supply so that the person maybe who threw $1,000 into PulseX and is hoping and praying for a 10,000x plus, well, if you threw in $2,000, you could potentially get out 50% sooner, 100% sooner, and like, versus, okay, somebody who threw in, 10 grand, $1 million, whatever, they have billions of units, they're going to have the opportunity potentially to exit that much sooner or leave a position that much sooner and still in turn reap significant sums of fiat dollars.
Yeah, man. I concur completely, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. Let's see what we got here. Moonpill, hey, I may have missed it. How much longer are we going to stay below 0.008 pulse and 0.008 or 4 zeros and an 8, 2 zeros and an 8 hex? That's a good question.
That depends a lot on how Ethereum does, bro. I think that you'll see Pulse Chain move to the upside as soon as we see Ethereum go back up to $3,500 to about $4,000. That's when you'll see significant moves within the RH ecosystem.
Yeah, I agree. Of course, the X factor, right, is always Sack Daddy, OA, doing whatever they do in the grand scheme of things. For all you know, they could drop a fat stack and boost the liquidity.
Pull up Moon-pilled Rational Optics statement there, Twinkie. Heard a guy talking about traditional markets?
Yeah, let me grab that one.
With a 10% correction and 20. I pictured Dave Ramsey talking about this shit, bro.
Yeah, I mean that is the poster child for that, right? And I'm just thinking about hell recently, right? A couple weekends back, that warm up for World War III, that Saturday, where it's like, oh shit, drones and missiles launched, and you're just watching. And then what was fascinating to me was how quickly the BTC chart turned around. They were like, oh, most of the stuff didn't make it. We shot it down. Just like it recovered really quickly.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. There was a guy at church I was talking to, bro, and I told him, yeah, man, Hex corrects 95%, bro. He goes, 95% correction? I was like, yeah, what's wrong with that? He goes, you're crazy, bro. And I'm like, dude, well, that's the only way we're gonna onboard new users, homie. We gotta correct a little, you know what I'm saying? You gotta give new people a chance to freaking ride the Hex storm as well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm gonna paraphrase Richard again. Go, if you don't follow Richard's Twitter, people, you should. He was saying, Bitcoin had multiple 95%, 90+% drawdowns and recovered. And look, it went from, basically valueless until somebody made a transaction with it, buying some, real world stuff with it, to look at it now. So it takes time, and you gotta, everyone riffs on Sailor, was it go all in on one conviction and the like. So sometimes you just got to give it some time. I know Richard has talked about delayed gratification and like, look, it's very well possible. Pulse chain and those things, those could be multi-cycle hold. Same thing with Hex and the like on that front. All right, a few more comments here. Centurion, I'm going to have sold most of my position by 30-cent pulse. I got islands to buy. Yeah, but if you still got 20% in the bag, just, 10%, 20% of your total stack, right? It's potentially a few mils that you can pick up later on or yield on or who knows what.
Twinksters, if your analysis on us going up to 33 cents does occur, bro, I may have to I may have to leave the United States so I don't pay as many taxes, bro. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I would have to do the nomad capitalist thing and renounce my citizenship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Of
yeah.
course, there's a huge excess tax on the way out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, go and be free. My
Yeah,
plan is slightly
Bucharest, here
different.
I come, man. I know you can own guns there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. My plan, your plan might be like kind of plan A and following those footsteps. My plan, we'll call it plan C, involves me
Yeah.
going to some like third world type country. I tragically die in a fire. I'd probably have to give up a molar and a pinky finger just to, make the bone identification records all copacetic. And then, I don't know, I'll change my name to John Lee and disappear in Asia.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
Bronx Kid got a pretty good question here, man.
which one?
Bronx Kid,
Oh,
crypto. You
yeah,
got it.
got it.
Is
Is
E-Hex.
E-Hex dead?
Look, depends how much E-Hex you have, man. I wouldn't say it's completely dead, bro. I think you'll eventually see somebody freaking move on it, bro, and then you can cash out on it. It is pretty much effectively a meme coin right now, bro, if anything. You know what I'm saying? But the most popular meme coin within the RH ecosystem is Ink Token.
Yeah. Let's see here. Is E-Hex dead? I'm going to say no. I think it's potentially an asymmetrical bet. Proceed with caution, do your homework and the like. Obviously, a lot of liquidity has left E-Hex, but there are still major whales who have mega stakes out in the Ethereum side that they're going to want a chunk of. And okay, we could talk about the fact that effectively the Pulse Chain copy was, in retrospect, a value transference in a lot of ways, maybe not one-to-one, but ultimately a value transference. I'd say as long as somebody is willing to provide a certain level of liquidity, and side note, there is overall liquidity for E-Hex on the Pulse Chain side as well, then it's not dead. It may have lost fiat purchasing power, but I don't think it's dead. And hell, the big knock against E-Hex has nothing to do with the product. It has everything to do with basically the S-load calculation for Ethereum. And Richard and his team are effectively with E-Hex relying upon Vitalik and crew to fix the S-load issue on that over time to bring gas fees down. That's the big one. That's the single thing that single largest negative impact on E-Hex that is on that side.
Yeah,
so,
man. I mean, eventually when they fix that, Twinksters, in the future, I mean, 2028, maybe, you know what I'm
people
saying?
will
Or
be
maybe
back. They want their shit.
2032, bro. Man, you're holding on to a shitload of E-Hex, bro, and they fixed that S-load thing that you're mentioning, bro, and they got it fixed. Now Ethereum can scale a little bit better. Then you could E-Hex comes back to life. You know what I'm saying? It could be a long-term hold, if anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's my thought. I mentioned, I think on this stream as well as on a few other streams, I liquidated most of my liquid E-Hex to throw into other projects. And people can sit there and say, whatever, paper hands, whatever. Coming off the 21 cycle, I made a conscious decision that I was going to do a better job with overall capital preservation. And that fell into that strategy, and I'm perfectly fine with my decision. I did roll some of it into the Pulse Chain side. I rolled a little bit into AVAX and a few other plays that I think will do well on that front. So question for Centurion. If we do 33 cents this cycle, where the hell would we go next cycle? A few bucks, got to keep a few mil for the day it hits $1. Basically, Centurion, the way I broke that down was potentially number of users and the value, overall increase in value of the network and onboarding additional people. So if we can hit a certain number of users, then there's an argument for 33 cents. And we know not every user of the network would be created equally. Some of them would be average Joe, some will be whales, and who knows what the future holds for other companies and corporations and venture capital and the like moving into places like Pulse Chain.
Yeah. If you're correct, Winky, and we do hit that area of about, let me check. Do a little bit of moon math here. Bring this sucker up here. 33 cents. Yada yada yada. Here we go. Bring the sucker up to 30 cents. And then we correct 95%, bro. You're talking about, if we correct 95%, bro, the way Richard Hart says majority of his tokens correct. Of course, 99% for E-Hex. You're talking about we go back down to 1 cent.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Effectively.
Yep.
So then our beginning point would be at 1 cent for the next bull run. You know what I mean?
And think about how much harder it would be to acquire the bag size you have now at 1 cent.
Yeah. what I'm saying?
right? For me, under current condition, it would effectively be unattainable.
Yeah, it would, dude. A lot of people, yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? 1 cent freaking pulse chain as a base. That'd be wild, man. Know what I mean?
Yep. So for every 100 mil you have, that's $1 million on that at 1 cent. That's the correction, right? That would effectively, under current condition, effectively be unattainable for me on that one. So where do I see it going next cycle? A few bucks, possibly. You know, I would think at least $1 if you 3x the previous, let's say pseudo all-time high. Again, I do want to stress, don't get married or bound to that 33-cent number. I know some folks are even more bullish. They're saying, like, if Richard says 14,000x, I'm planting the flag on 14,000x, and they're saying 40 plus cents per token.
Yeah. So yeah, monkeys. I mean, this is not financial advice, cats, and this is moon math that we're talking about here, man. It's not guaranteed that we'll end up getting to up to 33 cents. You know what I'm saying? So food for freaking thought. Make sure you freaking dollar cost average on the way out as we start approaching that 1 cent mark. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. A bunch of other people are. Centurion's a fan of the crypto moon math. And so I'm always hesitant to really talk about specific prices, although every now and then I'm, reading some tea leaves and having a little bit of fun on that. It's certainly easier to talk ranges, which will be greater than 0, less than 11 billion quadrillion dollars per token. One of the things I try to do is outline, particularly for Pulse Chain, under these conditions, this becomes possible. If the conditions are not met, then this is no longer possible. So for the community, we need to continue to onboard some things and stop selling your tokens for dumb shit. Or if you're going to do it, like, hey, do it now so I can buy a bigger bag now versus when it gets up to 1 cent.
Dude, a lot of people have dumped a lot of their pulse chain for the memes that are going on within the ecosystem, dude. I have noticed that, man. A lot of people. You know what I'm saying? This is where you got to be disciplined, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think PHEX can hit $2? Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's always a question of what are the conditions under those fronts, and that would need a certain number of buyers, a certain number or a certain amount of liquidity to it, and ultimately buy pressure has to exceed sell pressure to drive it up to $2 on that front. Now, one of the other things that changes on the Pulse Chain side is it's more economically viable to run shorter stakes versus compared to the EHEX side. It'll be very interesting to see how that plays out over time. AKA, if someone's got a larger PHEX bag, they have much more opportunity to do multiple shorter ladders. You could potentially, it gets way easier to have a hex. The true hex is, the market has decided. It gets much easier to have a hex stake coming out every month on the Pulse Chain side of things.
Yeah, man. The badass thing about freaking PHEX now is that now you can work out your freaking weeklies or your monthlies, bro, if you want to.
Yeah,
I'm saying
you can come
as
up with
far
all
as
sorts of clever
as far as stakes go. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Centurion, appreciate all the commentary this evening. These are the prices people will be jealous of next cycle. It would be like buying $80 ETH and hodling. So yeah, just remember that when people say, "Oh, you got so lucky." You got lucky. You bought that amount. I wish I had that opportunity, man. Like Boogie and I have been in the trenches since 21. Centurion, you're here at 10:50 Eastern on a Thursday night, watching a very small, modest YouTuber and his mass menace of a friend talk about magic internet money. Nobody gets good by accident. You made the choice to get good. You made the choice to invest your funds. You made your choice to do the homework on this. Yeah. They will certainly be jealous. No, we didn't get lucky.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Dude, we bought, I was scared shitless, Twinkie, when I was buying at the bottom of fucking Pulse Chain, bro. I was scared freaking aping in freaking thousands of dollars here and there, man. And I remember even Crypto Coffee saying, dude, I'm an OG Hexagon, bro. And this shit was scary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You kind of wonder, like, am I buying the dip or am I just throwing my money down the drain?
Yeah, bro. But hey, man, it's the people that risk it that make it, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, what else am I going to do? Just continue to hold money in a bank while we fund all this crazy shit overseas and not funding, core infrastructure and just printing more funds? No.
I can see where DCC comes on, mentions this, Twinkie. Since a lot of people can't make it anymore, they're more risk averse and they're willing to drop more freaking cash into a risky asset like crypto. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got no choice, but there's no good reason to not play the game. You know, what are the alternatives, right? And if the alternatives are increasingly unacceptable, and either, hey, this is the most acceptable and or the least unacceptable, no reason to not play the game.
Everybody playing Squid Games, bro, because they want to make it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Great show. Love that show. Aside from the dude biting the spoon. Anyway, I know Boogie's got some stuff. I got some stuff coming up. So, Boogie, where can the fine folks in the audience find you?
Yeah, monkeys. If you guys don't follow me, follow me here on YouTube. Twinkie did highlight my name on this YouTube freaking stream. It is US Crypto _ Boogie. Give me a follow there. You can also follow me on Instagram. Same freaking username, US Crypto _ Boogie, and the same thing on Twitter, cats. I also upload on Rumble, but I really don't do live shit on Rumble. I just upload the videos that I bring up here on YouTube. So there you go, cats. That is my data there. Hit me up.
All right. Appreciate it as always, Boogie. Good catching up with you. Y'all know how to find me. I'm at Mr. Angry Twinkie on socials, Telegram, and the like. More than happy to chat with everyone. I'm going to have Stephen Hawking take us out. So appreciate everyone tuning in, and we'll see you next time.